We've made it to our last episode of SportsLine for the 2024-2025 season. Don't be too devastated though. You guys are so lucky you get another season with Gwen and me next year. Hello, I'm Riley Kapchuk.
And I'm Gwen Good. I'm going to have to find other things that will make me laugh over the summer, since this will be the last time I see my favourite person till next semester, Stella. You're watching the Home for the Explorers Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. You officially made it through the end of listening to me and Gwen cover all LaSalle athletics this year.
And later, Riley and I had the chance to sit down with one of our beloved crew members on SportsLine and talk about her experiences.
Let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1. Number 1, Ange Lazzaro has been the producer and director of SportsLine for just shy of 50 episodes over the last 2 years.
Number 2, Ange won the Top Digital Arts Senior Award, but is also a communication major. Follow her amazing photography work at anges.photos on Instagram.
Number 3, Ange will be missed by all of us here at LaSalle TV. Please come back and visit us.
Additionally, Gwen Good has been named Female Athlete of the Year at this year's XP Awards ceremony. Congratulations.
Wow. Thank you.
And Ange,
congratulations.
Shout out to you, Ange. You're a big help, and we really appreciate it.
I was just, we were just discussing before the show, how Ange has to go to somewhere else after this for the honors.
She's busy. In our interview, we don't express how much she really does,
yeah,
but she really does.
A lot of things.
A lot. You can't even say it.
I feel like people think student athletes do a lot, and we do a lot, to be fair.
But have they met Ange? No, they haven't. That's a lot right there.
They need to meet Ange, don't they?
They do. So how was the ceremony?
It was good, yeah. It was I think it's fairly new. So it's called the XPs and it has all the student athletes come together. We dress up quite nice. It's only for a few hours and we all get awarded. It was nice seeing everyone get recognized and yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
That's it for the top 3. Let's take a look at how our teams did this past week. The LaSalle men's golf team wrapped up its spring 2025 season at the Atlantic 10 Conference Championship held at Evermore Resort Golf Club in Orlando, Florida. The Explorers finished in a tie for 11th place alongside Big 5 rivals St. Joseph's. Leading the way for LaSalle was junior Armin Loscazo, who tied for 31st overall. Loscazo posted a +2 74 in round 2, the lowest single-round score by any Explorer throughout the tournament, and finished +10 for the week. Senior Alex Geckos, junior Benjamin Batty, and freshman Peyton Hawk each tied for 44th at +13 overall. Hawk turned in back-to-back rounds of +3 75 on days 2 and 3, highlighted by an eagle on par 4 14th hole during the final round. Matt Lafon and Gavin Doche shared the 5th spot in the lineup for the blue and gold. Lafon capped off his collegiate career with a +5 final round on day 3. The Explorers will return to competition in the fall of 2025.
LaSalle track and field showed out at the prestigious Penn Relays over the weekend. Competing in multiple events across the Franklin field, Callum Murray clocked a personal best of 3 minutes and 48 seconds in the men's 1500-metre run, finishing 28th overall. In the men's 10K, Finn Burney secured a strong 12th place finish with a time of 30 minutes and 26 seconds. The men's 4x400-metre relay team, consisting of Evan Diaz, Gavin Andrews, Justice Quino, and Hamadi Samasa, qualified for the finals after placing 9th in the prelims with a time of 3 minutes and 21.25 seconds. They then went on to finish 4th overall in the finals.
On the women's side, the 4x100-meter relay team delivered a great performance at the 2025 Penn Relays. The squad of Adugo Ilonze, Soleil Morrison, Mariona Logan, and Nevaeh Davis opened competition on day 2 by winning their preliminary heat with a time of 47.35 seconds, securing a spot in the finals. The following day, the Explorers capped off their weekend with a win in the college 4x100-meter relay Eastern Final, taking first place in their event.
For the third consecutive Saturday, the LaSalle men's rowing team returned to the Schuylkill River, this time to compete in the Bergen Cup. All three boats representing the blue and gold claimed second place finishes in their respective races. The Varsity 8 and second Varsity 8 finished behind national powerhouse Temple, while the third Varsity 8 placed seconds to Drexel. In a close showing, the Explorers 3V boat clocked a time of 6 minutes and 31 seconds, just half a second faster than the DV squad. The Bergen Cup also marked the final race on the Schuylkill for several LaSalle seniors: Thomas Sadi, Dominic Mazza, Joe Yeager, Luke Yanelli, Joel Benova, Nick O'Neill, Victor Suzik, and Dylan Andrews.
The LaSalle University women's rowing team returned to the Schuylkill River for the second straight weekend as well, this time to take part in the Kelly Cup against fellow Philadelphia programs. The Explorers turned in strong performances across multiple events. Both the first and second Varsity 8 boats secured second place finishes in their races. In the Varsity 4 events, LaSalle's 1v4 and 2v4 crews each claimed third place to round out a competitive day on the water for the blue and gold.
The LaSalle's triathlon team had their first matchup this past weekend, making it the first time triathlon has ever competed representing LaSalle University. The team dominated its matchup against Eastern Manuti, claiming the top 3 individual spots in a strong showing. Camilla Frost led the way for the Explorers, finishing first overall with a time of 11 minutes and 19 seconds, including a blazing 4.5 minutes in the opening leg. Sophie Branduin followed closely behind, clocking in 11 minutes and 46 seconds to take second place, while Cecil Frost rounded out the podium for LaSalle in third with a time of 12 minutes.
Lacrosse closed out its 2025 regular season at McCarthy Stadium on Sunday afternoon, following the Davidson and the Atlantic 10 action. The Wildcats took control early, scoring all of the goals in the first quarter to build an early lead and extending it further in the second. Attacker Alana Lathan got the Explorers on the board with 8 minutes left in the first half. Defense dominated the third quarter, with only 1 goal coming in the final minute. LaSalle added 2 more goals in the fourth from Sam Klein and Emmy Waldron, but the deficit proved too large to overcome.
Well.
Finishing up our sports.
Yeah, I know.
Lacrosse is done. I don't believe they are going to a championship.
Who's that? Lacrosse?
Lacrosse? I don't think
Oh,
they
lacrosse?
got
No, I don't think so,
their season's
unfortunately.
done. Close it out. Close it on a better note than before. I feel like it was a better
Yeah.
record than last
They
year.
battled.
I gotta check that. I'm still not sure, but they
Excited about triathlon. Really
I
excited.
didn't know they were starting this early.
No, neither did I.
Because there's a lot of recruits coming in, like freshmen coming in, and
Yeah.
transfers overall. That main specialty
Yeah.
is triathlon. And let's mention how the people who did compete and the people who won aren't even
No, they're
triathlon
swimmers.
players. Yeah, they're swimmers.
I feel like that just shows the strength. Like, I feel like if you are good at one event, because obviously triathlon is run, swim, and bike. I feel like if you're strong in one event, you can kind of dominate.
Yeah, you gotta like put your mind to it.
Yeah.
And hers was swimming, and she did good in swimming,
Yeah.
but then running and too.
Yeah, I didn't know how
crazy.
they did it. I didn't know if they were.
I don't know how it worked.
We'll have a
but
look into that.
Would you do it? Are you gonna?
I would do it.
Are you
I've
gonna
done
pop out next season?
No. Too much on my plate already, you know. No, I've done a duathlon and an aquathlon. So it's like,
What is that?
So a duathlon is like you run and bike, and then aquathlon is you run and swim. So I haven't done the whole thing.
Okay.
But it's good. I really like it. I think it tests like, it's a really good event. I'm excited to see more of it next year.
You'd definitely be able to, right? Like if we went out together, like I would win though. Anyways, let's talk about men's rowing. Men's rowing is also having really good. Women's rowing, better than last week. They're also finishing up their season, and just men's rowing,
They
competing.
continue to dominate.
Yeah, they're competing in higher competitions.
Yeah, so they're staying at LaSalle for a little bit longer.
They're going to stay here. And so is track. Track is here for a little bit too.
Yeah.
They have a lot of places to go. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, you guys get to learn more about Ange. Stay tuned. Woohoo.
The game is on the line. Championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication, update software, and recognize and report phishing, because online safety is not something you want to fumble. Get more game-winning tips at cisa.gov/secure-our-world. Then share them with family and friends.
We put our trust in professionals with years of training to help us lead healthy lives. We rely on them to do their jobs with diligence and dedication, because if they don't, our lives are on the line. Clean water is essential to survive. 98% of fresh water lies underground, which must be accessed by trained groundwater professionals. One trained groundwater professional can ensure the health of an entire community. Don't take clean water for granted. Learn how to protect our water at groundwater.okstate.edu.
Welcome back to our final episode of On the Sideline. I'm Riley Kapchuk, and joining me today is my amazing co-host Gwen, and our even more amazinger producer, director, and everything else, Ange Lazzaro. How are you, Ange?
I'm good.
Thanks for being here again on this desk.
Of
Second
course.
week. I'm gonna get right into this. What first sparked your interest in photography and digital arts?
I think I was always interested in taking photos, you know, like those little artsy pictures of like flowers and stuff. And I live by the beach, so taking pictures of sunsets were always like a thing I would do. But it wasn't until my freshman year of high school when I decided to help out with the yearbook club. And at first I was just editing page layouts, like importing the photos and making the text and submitting pages by certain sections at a time. And then junior year, I was head editor, and I wasn't happy with the pictures that the company we hired to take. So I was like, can I take my own pictures? So I started doing that, and I was like, this is what I want to continue doing.
And then coming off that, how would you describe your visual style or approach when capturing a specific moment?
I've noticed, and I've had people tell me my style is really capturing emotions. So whether it's a candid at an event or a sports game or even grad portraits, like I'm always trying to capture those small moments that the people in the room might miss.
And as someone, sorry to piggyback off that, I do a lot of running, and then when you finish a race and you look back at photos, you kind of forget how you look or how you celebrate and getting those photos, and like your style with capturing the emotion, I think it's so powerful. But I'd like to ask, because I recently got into like photography a little bit, not as good as you, just as a hobby. But I remember when I bought my first camera and I was so happy. Do you remember when you got your first camera?
Yes. So up until I was a sophomore in high school, I was just, you know, taking pictures off my phone, my iPhone, using Visco or, you know, those types of editing apps. But sophomore year is when I decided I really wanted a DSLR. So my mom got me for my birthday. It was a Nikon D3500, which is one of those like starter cameras that you do. It's mostly auto, and it came with a kit lens. And then eventually I upgraded because I realized, because I was working a lot with stadium lights and like late night football games, that my camera couldn't handle how dark it was outside. So I had to upgrade, and when I went in there, the guy was like, you are not using the right lens for what you're doing. And I'm like, it was working for me. So it just shows like, it's not all about the equipment, but what you can like do with it.
Yeah. I guess that's quite like interesting, because we just think of it as like, you know, we can all take pictures with our phones and capture things, but like you got to think about like the lighting, the lens, the focus, and everything.
There's all
like
these
that.
settings that you can customize, and it took a while to learn. A lot of it's trial and error, like oh, my ISO was way too high. Like look how, you know, when pictures are fuzzy, like oh, I gotta like watch out next time for that. So you learn as you go on, but it takes practice to like know what settings are good for certain situations.
And you've been taking pictures for a long time. Do you have a favorite photo that you've ever taken, and do you have like a story behind it?
Too many.
One that sticks out to me, because this was in the beginning of when I started taking pictures, and it was something where I was like, I think I can continue doing this, and I could see myself getting better. And it was like a moment where I realized that I was kind of good at it, or like I was like, it made me really excited to still do it. It was one of the football games at my high school, and I was just capturing the motion. So they were running down for a touchdown, and I was tracking it with my camera. And at the right moment, our principal walked into my shot, and as the guy, as one of the team players was like celebrating his touchdown, I got the principal clapping, and it was just like the juxtaposition of like the celebration, and he's like all blurry in the background, the players, and then the principal in the foreground. It was one of those pictures. It was an accident, but at the same time, it was like really cool.
I'm imagining it. It looks cool in my head.
Yeah.
I hope
show
I'm
you
seeing
guys.
it. Yeah,
I gotta
show it.
Oh, awesome. And then I just want to quickly talk about that little tattoo that you have on your finger, because that is,
yeah.
I remember, I think that was the first thing I asked you when I first met you, and I was like, wow, that is so cool. So can you just talk, I know it's like tiny and not many people can see it. But
Yeah. So I was already planning on getting some tattoos, but I was looking on Pinterest, as one does with tattoos. And I kept seeing this one where they had the little camera on the finger. Mm-hmm. And when I was talking to the tattoo artist, they were like, oh, don't get finger tattoos, they fade, that kind of stuff, which is true. But mine's held up pretty good for a couple years now. But I wanted it because it was like a little like symbol of like my passion in it, as well as like when I hold my camera, my finger on the shutter button, you can see.
I remember you telling me about that, and I was like,
Yes.
whoa, that is cool.
And it's probably one of my favorite tattoos. Even though it's so tiny and it was really painful, by the way, I was seeing stars, but like I'm like, I do not regret getting it.
It's the little things. Mm-hmm. It's the little things.
I'm going to shift gears and talk about our favorite thing at LaSalle, which is SportsLine, obviously. How did you get involved with creating graphics for SportsLine?
Yeah. So I started as just a digital arts major at LaSalle, and I wanted to get more involved, but it was still COVID restrictions, so it was a little harder because not all clubs were active. And then I started taking more comm classes, and I noticed there was a TV studio here. And in high school, I was all about sport photography. I went to every game. I was the head photographer. Like, everyone knew me as Ange's Photos, just to put it out there. But I wanted to continue making graphics, because that's what I did with the yearbook a lot, with the pages, and the sport photography. I wanted to continue that here. So athletics was a little hard to get into, so I saw that they had a LaSalle sports show. Mm-hmm. So I emailed Tanya. I'm like, hey. So I got myself into this, and I can't complain. But I started doing graphics, and then Tanya has really let me have my creative freedom and how I want to present these pictures and how to showcase like the story and recaps of all the games.
Yeah. And then can you just walk us through your process of editing graphics for us? Mm-hmm. What, from the concept to the final product to being up basically all night?
Yes.
Talk us through it.
Yeah. Well, if someone wrote the script a little earlier, I wouldn't have to stay up all night to do them. But but I will wait till all the games are written. So all the recaps are written, or at least the majority of like the first couple. So that's why it's so important to do all the beginning stories first, because then I can go in order. And so I go through, I read it through, and I see which athlete names or stats are grouped together. And that's how I decide if I need a 1 roster picture template or a 2 roster or 3. And then I put their names in, and then if there's any stats, what place they finished in, times, all those types of things. But I pre-made a template, so all I have to do is plug in the specifics of like numbers and names and stuff like that.
No, we really appreciate it, and actually, I think you're going to have to give us some lessons on how to do it, so then the show can continue with how good it's been this semester, because I know you're like literally like the rock of the show.
Like we're not just
saying
literally, and without Ange, it would be Riley and Gwen disaster, actually. So
stay tuned for that next year. But nah, that's awesome. And then with everything you do, how do you balance it? How do you do it all?
I probably do way more than I should be doing, but I care so much for it that I push through like times when I don't want to do it or when I'm really tired. It's something I really enjoy doing, and I think that love for it and how much I want it to be, like I want it to be my best work. I think that's what really pushes me to keep making it. And
Well,
you know,
we see the passion. Like honestly, the photos you take, the time you put into the show and like your own project is like really inspiring to see, and I'm excited for the future for you and what you get up to.
thank you.
So is there anything else that you want to add on, being this producer, director, MVP of all LTV?
Use your upcoming games as a way to outline your script for the following week.
Nice.
Are
you writing this?
Try
You
not
writing this down?
Try not to wait too long to write the script, because then you have to make the graphics. And if you wait too long, then you're not going to have enough time to finish graphics. And try to enjoy it, because I know there's some weeks where it's stressful and it's a lot and there's 12 stories to recap. But try and enjoy it because it's such a short time in our college experience. Not everyone gets to do this. It's really cool.
What would you tell Lil Ange, who got that first camera, who took that first photo, who like realized, actually this is what I want to do? What would you tell her right now from all the experience you've had and things?
I think to be more confident in your ability, don't be afraid to try new things, because I feel like I've stayed safe in some cases. Sometimes I'm afraid to get too close. Like normal photographers, like they're up in people's faces in a respectful way, but you know, like really getting the emotions of games and reactions. And like sometimes I'm like too afraid that I'm like really behind like the sidelines or the field lines, like those types of things. So just really like, I would just dive into it as far as you can.
And is that what you're going to do now when you graduate? Dive in head first to everything?
I'm gonna try.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Ange, for everything. You've done so much for us this year and the past year in SportsLine. We wish you the best of luck post-grad, and I'm speaking for both of us. We'll miss you. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we have all of this week's upcoming games. Stay tuned.
Another teenager, victim to fake pills. That smells like big crime that needs to be stopped. Before buying pills online, think about this. Should buying prescription pills be this easy? Did you know that fake prescription pills may contain fentanyl, and an amount small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil can be lethal? Before buying pills from social media, think again. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org and go for real.
Did you know that children growing up with poor air quality have smaller lungs and higher rates of asthma than children that grow up with good air quality? And unfortunately, poor communities have poor air quality. IQ Air Foundation is working to change this. Today, the IQ Air Foundation provides filtration technology to schools with poor air quality through our Clean Air for Kids program. Our goal is to help over 50,000 school children every year breathe over 90% cleaner air indoors, helping to level the playing field, reduce barriers to learning, reduce sick days, and increase test scores. Mitigating poor air quality is key to environmental justice. Help Clean Air for Kids reach more children at iqairfoundation.org.
Welcome back. We have a couple weeks of Explore Sports, so here's what you have to look forward to. Men's and women's track will compete in the Atlantic 10 Outdoor Track and Field Championships in Virginia. They will then compete at West Point Twilight, eventually finishing up their season at the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Preliminary Championships in Jacksonville, Florida.
Women's rowing will also continue their season, both competing at the Dad Vales at the Cooper River in New Jersey, being the women's final match, while the men's rowing will then eventually compete in the Era Regatta, also in New Jersey, to conclude their season. Wow. But you know what, Riley? I really need someone to take pictures of me running and capturing like the emotion when I finish the race.
Get them really clear,
Yeah,
even
like-
though you're running so
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Clear, focused, and great pictures.
Yeah.
That's what you need?
I literally, do you know someone?
I actually do.
Really?
Ange Lazzaro. You can learn more about Ange Lazzaro by visiting angelazaro.myportfolio.com.
That is exactly what I'm going to do after this show finishes.
From there, you can see all of Ange's work, plus other things she's made, and she's just a really reliable photographer and
Ange
etc.
also did this documentary, and I think she's going to publish it next week.
I think so.
I'm very
I'll
excited
be on the
for that.
lookout for that. Super exciting.
So go check out angelazaro.myportfolio.com today. Tell your friends, tell your families, tell your aunts, uncles, your dog, your auntie, everyone.
Don't snooze. She gets booked up really quick.
Yeah, she is quick. And
That's how good she is. It's crazy. Book months in advance, maybe even.
Awesome.
That just about wraps it up for us this year. Find out more about LaSalle Athletics by visiting goexplorers.com.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Instagram at SportsLineLTV. We welcome you to send your thoughts and suggestions there.
For our entire SportsLine team, I'm Riley Kavchuk.
And I'm Gwen. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the fall.